Hello, how is it going? I hope that life is treating you well, that you're getting ready for this holiday season. I know it's been a little bit since the last time I was able to be on film, kind of updating you on where my palettes are, because it's just in the last month, I really haven't had a lot of opportunity to sit down and film, so I apologize for that, but things have been chaotic on my front. So today we are going to do kind of an overarching view on what's been going on, because I have really focused on two palettes in particular. And then we'll talk about kind of what's going to be going on for 2020. We'll go on and just introduce the Panda palette for next year. Why not? Let's go there. So first off, what I'm really excited about, I was able to finish another palette out of my collection. The LORAC Pro 2 is now done. Man, this was a good feeling. And honestly, I feel like this palette is at the point where it's so old now, nobody's really talking about it, but if you have it in your collection, I hope that you will feel inspired to use it, because I know for me, with my experience with this palette, it is a great companion palette. In terms of using the palette solely on its own, I have to admit, even from day one of owning this palette, I tended to mix it with other palettes versus trying to find a look completely out of this palette. That being said, though, there was one look that I was really inspired by when I saw the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette. I'm actually going to make a video this week filming kind of an additional take on it using other shadows in my collection, but it's kind of based on the grays and the silvers and the coral out of that palette. And the shades that I particularly fell in love with from the LORAC Pro 2 were the shades silver, up here with charcoal, cool gray in my crease, and then going through with cocoa on my lower lash line. And then I brought in kind of a corally shade from the rest of my collection, and I absolutely adored that look. And so that was kind of the closest I got to doing a one-stop shop look out of this palette. Otherwise, it was very much a companion palette for anything else that I happen to be using from my collection. I mean, I subbed in light brown when I ran out of a transition shade years ago. And then I was using plum on my lower lash line when I wanted kind of a purpley effect. Another reason that kind of got relegated to my lower lash line is, to be frank, these shadows have deteriorated to the point that they're definitely not in their prime to really be used as eyeshadows anymore. Navy expired on me, so that was kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. So overall, I'm glad that this palette is done. And like I said, if you have this in your collection, it's a great way to incorporate a shadow or two into your look if you're wanting to bring in a highlighting shade, bring in a transition shade, bring in a great liner shade, and then not necessarily focus on this palette solely on its own. But I feel like it's been out on the market so long that, honestly, I mean, I guess it's kind of had its day and nobody's really talking about it anymore, to be very frank about it. So overall, just in general, it was a great palette, but definitely kind of what I faced with myself this year was just figuring out, it's like, how do I really feel about it? And I really struggled with my motivation with this palette, which was kind of interesting to me because I had already hit pretty substantial pan when I started working on it this year, and I found it that much harder to get motivated to finish it. And you would think it'd be the reverse, because it'd be like, all right, I see progress, let's just get after it and get going. But there were so many weeks that I would look at the palette and go, I know I can finish it by the end of the year. We'll put it off till later. We'll put it off till later. And then finally I got the fire under me to be like, girl, get after it and get it done. But it's just, this year was an interesting year. I got super motivated jumping into Jessica and Amanda's Single Ladies and My Man Matte Project Pan. And I'm going to make a separate video on this in terms of that update. And I also have 5 Get Ready With Me's. So comment below in the description box, because I'm curious of how you would like to see them presented. If you want chatty Get Ready With Me's, or if you want kind of just watching me put on the makeup and have music in the background, or how would you like them presented? Because like I said, I've got like 5 looks. I'm going to be using this palette till the end of the year, but I'm curious to how you want to see them presented, because I know that Get Ready With Me's are not the most popular videos to watch. I like to watch them personally, and maybe something that I've done in the last months with my palette will be inspiring for you to pull this out, or pull out your LORAC Pro 2 or what have you, but let me know kind of the style that you like to watch if you're going to watch kind of tutorial or get ready with me styles. So that being said, where I am with the Subculture palette now, since this has been such an integral part of 2019 for me, I'm going to go on and show you this and then work on it a couple more days. I'm going to update with the Single Ladies and My Man matte, but this palette was particularly wonderful to use with my LORAC Pro 2. I found a lot of versatility between both palettes. If you have these in your collection, I loved pairing, before it expired, I loved pairing navy with New Wave and Edge in particular, or using plum on my lower lash line and going through with like a rose gold shadow on the lid, and then using All Star in the crease. One of the things that I'm doing now I'm working pretty much solely out of the Subculture palette at this point, but I've got like electric on my lid, the Destiny olive green in my crease. I've gone through and like used the navy shade as a liner. I've also gone through and I've used, when I ran out of cool gray, I ran and started using Mercury with that look to finish off silver, and then the kind of the corally shade that I was working on, I often pulled in the matte black from the LORAC Pro to use as liner with this palette. And so literally these two are just absolutely fantastic paired together. So wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration in terms of that. But other than that, I mean, I'm really feeling motivated to just plug through and keep using up more and more makeup. That takes us into what's going to be going on for 2020. And I wanted to really just be sure of what I wanted to do because I did like the versatility of having Single Ladies and My Man matte for the past couple of months. It's really held me accountable to finishing off some more shadow, but I also kind of liked the jumping around aspect a little bit more, even though I'm still kind of panning looks and things like that. And so I want to take things really old school for next year and do a whole theme, if you would like to join me, called the Back to Mac Pan That Palette. And it's going to be kind of a play on words because I know I'm not the only one that has a lot of MAC shadows in my collection. I have quite a few palettes. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of not only back to MAC, like finish shadows out of my collection, but kind of have more of a nostalgic vibe to my channel for next year. There's been kind of a more of just a desire from content creators and viewers alike to maybe go back to the way things used to be, where things used to be about makeup and enjoying what we have and not necessarily jumping on the new trains and buying more. And I thought this is the perfect time. And so in terms of what I want to do next year, I have several MAC palettes. Actually, I think I have one more. So I've got a smattering of MAC palettes here. And what I want to do, so here's what I've got kind of working with. I am going to try to pan as many MAC shadows as I can in 2020. And I know that's going to be a lot of work because I've only actually ever finished one MAC shadow in my entire life, and it was a matte espresso brown, and it took a very, very long time because those pans are deep, they are densely packed, and those shadow formulas, a little goes a long way. And so if you would like to join me, I think that this will be incredibly inspiring to kind of take that walk back down memory lane and revisit MAC shadows, because like I said, I know I'm not the only one that has these in my collection, but also too, I think it's going to be a way to kind of breathe new life into makeup that we already own, because we're going to be rediscovering some favorites that maybe haven't been touched in a long time, because I know MAC is not at the forefront of conversation anymore by their own doing, and then also due to the fact that we have so many other products that are available out on the market. So I hope that you will join me. So pretty much the way that I'm going to structure my Pan That Palette updates, I'm going to call it the Back to Mac Project Pan, or Back to Mac Pan That Palette, pardon me. And when I come on here every month, I'm going to update you on what I'm working on. I will still be doing, looks, panning looks, and I'm going to try my best to be a little bit more diligent about filming the looks, but I know for the next, spring's going to be really, really crazy for me. I'm getting ready to do a tax course. It's kind of a weed out of my program, and so I'm gonna have to be studying a lot. And in terms of what's going on with my family and work and everything, I've got a lot on my plate right now. So I will do what I can. I really, really appreciate you sticking it out with me, and I hope that you will join me for the Back to Mac Pan That Palette next year. And like I said, I really just, you have no idea how encouraged you keep me, how motivated you make me. I love being able to catch up on your Pan That Palette updates, your Project Pan videos. I find them very relaxing and enjoyable, and it just warms my heart to see that there is a huge community of us that are really just getting back to basics, and we're enjoying our makeup. And granted, that may not be the mainstream thought right now in the beauty community, but I'm definitely seeing a trend towards more shop that stash and getting back old school. So like I mentioned before, leave me a comment in the description box below how you would like to see those Get Ready With Me's presented with the Anastasia Subculture palette, because I've definitely had like 5 looks that I've really just gravitated towards, and I definitely want to get this filmed because I'm kind of debating if I can fit in continuing with Single Ladies and my Man Matte with the Subculture palette if I'm going to be taking on such a massive project with my MAC shadows next year. Because like I said, it's going to take me a long time to get through shadows, and if I'm planning to make it through, honestly, I'm kind of hoping to make it through like 15, maybe 20 pans of eyeshadow next year, but we'll see. We'll see, fingers crossed. So that about wraps it up for now. I really hope that life is treating you well. Let me know how things are going. And until next time when I film those Get Ready With Me's for you, I hope that everything goes well, and I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. So until then, take care. Bye.